Hey y'all, this is Getting Real with Rachel. So I just want to speak to y'all for a few minutes today. And let me ask you this. What are you willing to give up to get to Jesus? Are you willing to give anything up at all? Do you want to make some changes in your life and but I don't want to give nothing up? What are you really willing to give up to get to Jesus? Come on, somebody. What's it going to take for you to get to Jesus? We know that times are getting short. All we have to do is turn on the news. Come on, we're no dummies. We can see the Bible's unfolding. What are you willing to give up to get to Jesus? It's time to get serious. It's time for us to quit playing games. All this pettiness that goes on in and out of churches, just different situations that takes place. What are you willing to give up to get to Jesus? What are you feeding yourself? Is it television? What are you watching? Be careful. Go back to that old little song you sang when you was a kid, right? Be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little ears, what you hear. What are you willing to give up to get to Jesus? Is it people? Is it video games? Is it television? Is it places that you shouldn't even be at? What are you willing to give up to get to Jesus? Rachel, I might be crawling. Maybe you're at a place that you feel like you're crawling. Maybe you're at a place that you feel like you're just tiptoeing, but you're still going. You're still going. So I want to encourage you to just keep going. Keep going. Y'all, do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to get to Jesus. He loves you. He cares for you. Maybe you're at the place that you feel like, but God doesn't really, I don't think He really cares about me. Maybe you feel like you're a write-off. Maybe you think like too many people are judging you by your past. What are you going to do? What's it going to take for you to really lay it down and surrender it and get to Jesus? I kept receiving this notification on my phone for like three different days. Like it was like the first day, the very next day I got it again, waited a few days, and I received it again. And I'm like, okay. I kept receiving this notification on one of my Bible apps. And it's just a new Bible app I had started with because I really like devotionals and stuff within it. And one day I was just weeping in prayer. And I asked God to allow me to hear from Him. I was just weeping and like, Lord, I just want to hear from you. You see, God always knows what we need to hear or see. Like God knows, y'all. He hears you. He hasn't turned His deaf ear to you. Even if you think, like, I'm just invisible, Rachel. No, you're not. God cares even about the smallest things. What's it going to take? What's it going to take for you to get to Jesus? Even the smallest things. He cares about, y'all. It said this: God is the reason why I remain strong today. Whoo! And when I received that notification, not once, not twice, but like 3 times, I knew God was clearly speaking to me. Because He cares about the smallest things. Things you think are too small to pray. God cares. God cares. Somebody needs to hear that today. God cares. You see, Luke 12:6-7 says, "Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins? Yet God does not forget a single one of them. And the very hairs on your head are all numbered. Isn't that amazing? I mean, if you really just stop and think about that. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. So don't be afraid. You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows. Yes, you. Come on, somebody. Are you even seeking for more of God in your life? You see, one day, I started playing tennis and stuff, and like I love to play tennis, and I hadn't played it probably a year, maybe even longer. And so I opened up my tennis bag with my rackets and everything, and I started digging out the balls. And I want to say about 2 years ago, I had 6 balls. Y'all, I started out with 6 tennis balls, hit the court. You know, we play with our 6 balls. Can I play well? No, but I can somewhat hit the ball. So I started out with 6 tennis balls. And one day we found another ball. And so like, oh, well, you know, one of the other tennis players, I guess, left it behind, because there's lots of tennis players that have like galore balls. I ain't one of them. So we had 7 tennis balls. And so as we were going to the tennis court the other day, I opened up my bag and I'm getting the balls out, and I told my daughter, I said, maybe I should purchase some more balls. You know, I'd like to have about a dozen balls at least. You know, we have 6 balls. We really need more, because we hit them all, and like, we can't keep it going very much. So we have to go and collect our balls. Well, as I'm getting the balls out of our bag, there's another ball in there. And I'm like, where did this ball come from? And, you know, my daughter was like, we only have 7 balls, Mom. I was like, now we have 8. Now we have 8 tennis balls. Where'd that ball come from? But you see, God cares about the smallest things. He heard my little cry, I guess you could say, or complain about needing more balls. Now we have 8 balls. We go back to the tennis court yesterday, and we're like laughing, and we're like, let's take out our 8 balls today. And as we're taking them out, my daughter's like, wouldn't it be funny if there'd be another ball? Guess what? Another ball shows up. Y'all, I know that might be small to y'all, but it's like, it's the work of God, because He cares. He cares about everything that you go through. Everything. He just wants you to have a relationship with Him. He wants you to talk to Him. Isn't that amazing? So I started out with 6 balls. I now have 9 balls, because that's just the kind of God we serve. That's just the kind of God we serve. What are you willing to do to get to Jesus? What are you willing to do? He just wants a relationship with you. You see, it's a relationship that I formed with Him. And just like, Lord, I need some more tennis balls. And it was a little ha-ha kind of thing. But He heard me. He heard me. Do you know that God hears you? He hears you and He loves you. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody needs to be getting this today. He hears you, He loves you, and He wants a relationship with you. What are you willing to do to get to Jesus? He cares about even the smallest things in your life. Even if it's just a little tennis ball. Even if it's just a little tennis ball. Y'all, I was looking in my freezer and I'm counting how many packs of meat we have in there. And y'all know, like, I work for myself. And I'm like, man, like, it gets scarce in the months of June and July. Like, it just does. Every year, it's just like, whew, it's like pinching our pennies, you know. And I'm looking, I'm like, I'm counting, like, how many packs of meat we got, y'all. Because, and I tell, you know, my kids, we're going to make it. It's going to be all right. God always got us. And I don't worry about them things so much like I used to, because I've formed a relationship with Jesus. And I know without a doubt that He always takes care of me. I've learned not to stress so much because He's always had my back. He always takes care of me. All I have to do is say, Daddy God, and there He is. Why? Because I have formed that relationship. What are you going to do to get to Jesus? A few days later, I'm digging in my freezer to finish that story. And I pulled out a big bag, a grocery bag, full of ground meat. I was like, where'd this come from? I'm telling y'all, there are things that is probably just unexplainable. But that's the kind of God we serve. That's the kind of God we serve. Come on, He's a God of miracles, a God of just, He loves you. He's a God of love. What are you gonna do to get to Jesus? What's it gonna take for you to open your eyes and get to Jesus? He wants a relationship with you. He wants to love on you. He wants you to receive His love. What's it gonna take? Come on. Is anybody getting this today? Is anybody getting this today? Come on. He loves you and wants a relationship with you. Would you do that today? Would you choose today whom you will serve? Will you just be the person to stand in your household? Will you be the person to let your light shine so that others could see Jesus in you? But you don't know what I've done before in the past. It's in the past. Let it go. Drop them baggages down. It's too heavy for you to carry. Let Jesus carry it for you. There are still some things that people hold against me today. There are still some things, some choices that I made that weren't the greatest choices. There are some things that just shouldn't have been done, and I'm still held. They still hold that against me. And I fought and I've battled that. And every once in a while, somebody wants to come and throw that in my face. But guess what? Jesus wiped the charges. I have a clean slate. What happened a year ago? What happened 2 years ago? What happened 10 years ago? It doesn't define who I am. And it doesn't define who you are. You do whatever you can to get to the feet of Jesus. Because it's you, your life. You are going to have to stand before God and hear the words, welcome or depart from me. What would you choose? We're not promised tomorrow, y'all. We are not promised tomorrow. If something happened to you today, what words would you hear? Welcome home. Or depart from me, because I never knew you. That's deep. That's deep. What would what you want to hear. Can I encourage you? Do whatever you can to get to Jesus. Even if it means you got to get on your hands and knees and crawl. Even if it means you got to tiptoe. Do whatever you got to do to get to Jesus. Because he cares and loves you with an everlasting love. How do you know that, Rachel? Because the Bible says so. Open up y'all's word. Can I encourage you to do that? Open up your word. For God so loved the world. And that includes you. You matter. If no one's told you that today, you matter. Amen. I love you guys. Y'all, this is Getting Real with Rachel. I want y'all to go out there, be blessed, and be a blessing to someone today. I love y'all.